the city in Game 6 on Saturday, 108-101. Steve Kerr knows his team has to just get that one more win.
Momentum can change. We still have to battle like crazy against this team. Just getting a rebound against these guys seems like a tall task. So we've got to fight. We've got to scrap and come up with loose balls and rebounds, but it's nice to be going home.
The question for OKC is how do they get off the mat after losing at home in Game 6? Kevin Durant on their confidence.
We got another game to play. We're excited about that. We get another opportunity, and we can't hang our heads. We got another game to play, so it's pretty hot right now.
Auto racing, the 100th running of the Indianapolis 500, Alexander Rossi becomes the first rookie to win it since Helio Castroneves did it in 2001. Golf, Dean and DeLuca Invitational, Jordan Spieth, a 5-under on Sunday, wins it at 17 under, 3 strokes better than Harris English, who finished at 14 under par. This is NBC Sports Radio and the NBC Sports Radio app.
From the Kcaa Weather Center, I'm Rod Tanner. For this afternoon, cloudy skies will gradually clear with a high of 81. We'll have winds to 20 miles an hour. We'll have some patchy fog overnight. Otherwise, it'll be increasingly cloudy with a low of 58 with winds to 25 miles an hour. Continuing the holiday weekend Sunday, there's a 2 in 10 chance of afternoon showers and thunderstorms. We'll have patchy fog through the morning. Otherwise, cloudy skies will gradually become mostly sunny with a high near 80. For Memorial Day, we'll have patchy fog through noon. Otherwise, cloudy skies will gradually clear with a high of 85. That's your weather forecast for this hour from KCAA, 106.5 FM and 1050 AM, the stations that leave no listener behind.
Has your campaign run out of ink? Have you made the print houses rich and people still don't know who you are? Don't leave radio out. It's a proven fact over the years. Local candidates who advertise on KCAA get elected time after time. And now, KCAA will run your ads on not just one, but 2 radio stations, AM and FM. And from now till June 7th, it's unbelievably affordable. Don't bleed your campaign dry by buying ink when you can reach an audience of over 1,500 listeners at any given time. Are you really letting your competition have all the bandwidth on our radio station? Don't lose out. On election night at 8 p.m., don't say coulda, shoulda, woulda. Shore up your campaign by advertising on our radio station. It's more affordable than you think. For our contact info, log on to kcaaradio.com. Be a winner. Advertise on KCAA 1050 AM and 106.5 FM.
Welcome to Wyatt's Paint and Body in sunny San Bernardino, California. Hey, if we can't fix your car, nobody can. Wyatt's Paint and Body started in 1975. My father, Randy Wyatt, opened the business because he had a passion for cars and he developed a real strong love for San Bernardino. Our primary business is collision repair. We can negotiate with the insurance company how to repair your vehicle, but that doesn't mean that's where we stop. We also have done restoration work, we've done custom work. We will match the paint to where you wouldn't see the difference of what we repaired and what we painted versus what was already on the vehicle. We do a lot of repairs in-house as far as brakes to suspension parts that may be out of alignment or damaged, so they may need to be replaced. Frame repair, when a vehicle gets hit so hard that the frame's bent or shifted, we have to repair the frame back to its specifications. We can take care of all that, but it just doesn't stop at vehicles. We've painted boats, we've repaired motorcycles. We've developed a great relationship with the city and the county of San Bernardino. Occasionally we'll have the city vehicles and also Caltrans. Taking care of a customer is number one. When a vehicle enters our shop, we will take it to the fullest to make sure that that customer's happy. When someone has their vehicle damaged and they don't know where else to turn and they come to you and you repair the vehicle and the person's crying, tears of joy, when you hand them the keys, that's something you can't get anywhere else. It's a very good feeling and I really enjoy that. This isn't just a job, this is a life. This is my life. If you ever need your car worked on, come to 350 North Rancho Avenue, San Bernardino, California, or you can call us at 909-885-5051. You're not just a job, you're not just a dent on the fender, you're a person. Here at Wyatt's Paint and Body, no one will treat you like we do.
Walk with me.
This is Danny Alcarez. Today, we have a variety of shows. Tune in on the Alcarez Angel Baby Sunday block, CNBC Radio 1050 AM and 106.5 FM. Every Sunday, 4 to 9. Tune in. You never know who's coming on KCAA Radio.
You're listening to an encore presentation of this program on AM 1050 KCAA, the Inland Talk Express.
Hi, this is Nancy Gutierrez and Carla Quebec on Inside Politics. Welcome, and we'd like to introduce our guest today, which is Dr. Dale Marsden. Hi, Dale. How are you today?
Doing great, Nancy. Good afternoon.
We have a lot of questions for you today, so we're going to move right into the questions. Tell us a little bit about yourself, your family, and what brought you here to San Bernardino.
Yeah, you bet. So I have a wife named Lori. We've been married 25 years, and I have four.
Congratulations.
Thank you. We have four lovely children, 2 boys, 2 girls. My boys
perfect.
are the bookends, are all redheads. So my oldest son, Josh, is 21. He attends Cal State San Bernardino, and he is their lead jazz pianist, as well as being majoring in information technology sciences, and has his headset on cybersecurity. My oldest daughter, Jennifer, is 19. She's currently attending community college, and his long-term goal is to become a bilingual speech pathologist or speech therapist.
We need that.
Wow.
That's her goal, so she loves the language and is looking forward to that. And she also is the first of ours to be getting married. So this July she'll be getting married. So we're very excited about that. There's been nonstop discussion in the house about
lots of money.
Exactly.
That's a lot of money to get married these days.
So. And then Lauren, my daughter Lauren, is a senior at high school in Cajon High School this year, and she's been the vice president of Best Buddies program, working with special needs students, and through that has grown into a love for special ed. So she wants to become a special ed teacher.
Nice.
And then my youngest son Jonathan is a freshman at Cajon High School, and he is in water polo, swimming, speech, and debate. So that's my crew. And in terms of
so you're almost there, right? Because they're all in almost
high school.
high school.
That's right.
But they always say.
So.
I used to think, I think when I was about 27, I used to say, oh, when my kids are 18, then I'll be done.
I'll have no money is what I always
one
thought.
day I was like,
It's less.
wait, this is never going to end, is it? It's a never-ending job.
I'm very proud of all of them. They're doing fantastically well, and proud of my wife and her great work with the children as well. So we're thankful for that. And then in terms of what brought me to San Bernardino, I actually would not have imagined that I would be here today, except, my wife and her family actually settled in the high desert in the 1920s.
Oh, wow. So they've lived there a
very long time. And so her grandfather and great-grandfather were hay farmers up there. Her great-grandfather started the first church in Victorville up on 5th and B. And so it was quite an interesting history her family has. And we lived on property up there that was owned by her grandfather. And so we saw ourselves staying and retiring on a self-sustaining farm, and life was good. And I actually had become superintendent in a district called Victor Elementary School District. So it was a larger elementary district up in Victorville. And got to follow a superintendent, had been leader there 25 years, which is almost unheard of in the state of California, because average tenure for a superintendent is about 2.5 years in the state of California. So
and why is that?
Well, he had just had a tremendous supportive board. He had really just been a phenomenal leader, and he had created the county's highest performing high poverty district, attaining some incredible outcomes for kids from some of the most challenging environments. And so I had the privilege of growing up under that kind of leadership and was hired by the board. Though I was an internal candidate, I was hired by the board a year early in a national search, and had the opportunity then to work with that superintendent, transferring the role into superintendent for a full year, which is highly unusual.
So he was your mentor, basically.
He still is my mentor. I still talk to him frequently. So Ralph Baker, superintendent there, give a shout out to him. He was a fantastic leader, and I stand on great shoulders. And so while I was about my 4th year of work in Victorville, I had a relationship at that time for about 10 years with Mike Gallo, who you met previously on one of your stations.
Great man.
Was our board president, currently still serves on our board. Great guy.
Yes,
and we had served together on the Alliance for Education that was initially started by Dr. Herbert Fisher.
And I love him. He also is a great man.
He's a great guy, and now Ted leads that work. Ted Alejandro following Gary Thomas, and they've just all done such tremendous work on that. So I had met with Mike years ago. We served as executive leaders on that Alliance for Education board, and Mike said he was tired of seeing school district sitting in this downward spiral of results for so long, and he said, "Hey, Dale, I'm considering running for the school board." He said, "If I run and I'm selected, would you consider moving here with you and your family?" And I said, "Well,
so Mike had a part in
Mike
this.
had a part in why I'm here." And so you bet. So I
see.
I talked with my wife, and we saw that the need here was great, and I know what kids are capable of doing. And I saw
under the right
results
circumstances,
under
right?
the right leadership. I saw the results back in my last district, and so when my wife and I talked about it, we said absolutely. The kids were fully on board, and I'll tell you what, my kids moved here, and the sign for me that this was the right place to be is they came in without a hitch. I mean, they literally got feet on the ground in school, and were doing a fantastic job, got plugged in,
and that would have
loved
been,
it.
your son would have been in 10th or 11th grade, which is a hard, right?
Ninth grade.
Okay, good.
Ninth grade.
That's a better transitional
and
time.
Exactly. And so it's all fantastic right now, and so we're very grateful, and I'm so glad to be here, and we intend on staying here the long haul. This
we
is
need you
no
here,
simple task. It'll take some time. So. Yeah.
And you guys have been doing a great work.
Well,
and I know
you.
we were talking earlier also, and I know you've done a lot of things. How did you get into this work line? I know Mr. Mike had a part of it, right? But you also weren't. That was not your background, because we were talking.
Yeah, actually, I would never have imagined myself here today. I grew up son of a single mother. She had two boys.
Well, she deserves a shout out.
Yes.
Oh my goodness,
mother.
she raised you.
Absolutely. And my brother and I got into all kinds of trouble. And I remember in my senior year, it was a police officer. When I got into an altercation, he had taken me on a ride along, something you probably couldn't do now, but he had me over for dinner at his house with his wife, and he said, "Look, you need to go in the service, get your head screwed on straight." And so I followed his advice, and I went in the Air Force, and I wanted to be a police officer like him. So I was actually security police in the Air Force for about 4.5 years.
Oh my goodness!
And when I got into it, I found that I really just wanted to continue with my schooling, and so I did. And when I got out of the Air Force, I intended to go back in as a pilot and fly, and I was in Cal State Long Beach for a term. Okay. And long story short, ended up having an opportunity to move up to the desert with my wife's family, and did that. Went to Cal State San Bernardino, and just started working with kids through our church, and was
loved it.
Youth pastor for about 7 years.
Youth pastor?
Oh, wow.
And then just got into teaching, and just saw the need was so great for kids to have hope and access and opportunity. School didn't work for me as a kid. When I was in high school, I didn't connect. It wasn't engaging,
right.
And I knew there had to be more. And so I had the opportunity as a teacher to make that difference, just like so many of our great teachers are every single day today here in San Bernardino City Unified. And then later went on to be principal, and ultimately, as I described, superintendent. So it's been a fantastic opportunity, experience, and again, I would have never dreamed I'd be where I am today, but I'm so grateful that I am.
Well, it sounds like God prepared you for this, honestly.
No doubt.
Yeah, and I think that's how it is. He prepares the leaders.
Absolutely.
And I notice all of you do have also in common the fact that you've been in the service.
Yeah.
So you and Ted and Mike all three have
true.
that. And
Air Force, actually.
Yeah, and I'm really impressed because servicemen always have a great love for their country, and that means they have a great love for the people that
live in
the
city. And
exactly.
this was once America's all America City. That means a lot to me of what it once was, and what I know it can and will be.
Oh, I know it will be too. You guys are doing an amazing job.
And you know what? I saw that we had a show before, right? Before this one airs out, there's another show. And I noticed Mr. Dale had some communication with a youth here that we had, and I see the passion that he has for it. I see that there is a passion inside you that's probably always been there. And like you said, you probably didn't think this was your calling purpose, but you're here, and it's great to have you here. We are blessed in the city of San Bernardino to have great people like you that are out there to do something for our
willing
youth.
to give their time.
Well, I think back to when the police officer talked to me, you know, it was just a brief conversation over a period of a couple of days, but I'll tell you, that officer, Gary Gay, and several of my teachers along the way made a single deposit, and I know how far a single deposit can go in the life of a youngster, and so that's our task, is to continue to encourage young people.
Yes, and make some deposits, and with
absolutely.
that thought, we'll be back. We're going to go on a break, and stay tuned.
Saw you, I knew our love would be true. That chance and last forever.
As I walk behind that girl, she smiled and she turned around, talking with this sweet romantic sound. The rhythm of my heart is tumbling down. My thoughts, maybe I was dreaming. She's standing right in front of me, the most beautiful girl I've ever seen. I never knew her love could really be. Ooh, I dream of you. One thing, I dream of you. I love to tell you, my baby, my baby. That special girl of my dreams is you.
Come on, baby. Let's dream. Yeah, live our lives to the extreme.
I linger to see you every day. The hunger for your love to find its way, so our dreams of life can come true. Together, you and me in our world. You have taken my loving heart, believing no chance to grow apart. Desire and want you in every way. I pray that our love will never run away. I dream of you. One thing, I dream of you. I love to tell you, my baby, my baby. That special girl of my dream is you.
So let's dream, baby girl. Make this night last. For that one chance, our love grows stronger and stronger as time will pass.
I just wanna hold and squeeze you tight. Sure that the love will be alright. I dream to love you with all my mind, darling.
So we're back here at KCAA, the Danny Alcaraz and Angel Baby Sunday block, 10:50 a.m., 106.5 a.m. And you can listen in at live at KCAA, www.kcaa.com. And we have Dr. Dale Marsden here. And if you guys have any questions, any listeners are listening, you can call 1-888-909-1050. So we're back, and we have had great conversation with Dr. Dale. And tell us about your dreams, Dr. Dale, about the San Bernardino, for the San Bernardino City Unified School District. What are your dreams? Where I know you guys have come far along, probably more than the parents have dreamed, I think, but I know you have farther dreams, so share that with us.
Yeah, you bet. And I think we're beginning to realize a few of those dreams, but I'll start with begin with the end in mind, and that goes back to a book that I passed around to our city council and our board some time ago called The Coming Jobs War by Jim Clifton, and he had surveyed through Gallup, Gallup poll, through the entire world they surveyed, and regardless of where people live, the color of their skin, the language they spoke, their income level, everybody on the whole planet wants the same thing. Right. Everybody wants a high-paying job or a paying job for their family, just so they can provide for their family. And so, our end game is to ensure that all of our students, when they leave San Bernardino City Unified School District, are prepared for both college and career, and not just on a minimal scale, but I'm talking about being prepared as if they lived on the West Coast in some of the most prime areas of real estate. Because our kids, I know what kids are capable of, and I believe our kids are capable of doing phenomenal work. And we're seeing it happen now.
We are.
We're seeing it happen now. And so my dreams are that our kids could experience, the highest possibilities for children of success. So, you think about, you hear a lot of talk about the achievement gap, and the way I like the achievement gap described, as I've heard it said once, is it's not just the achievement between one group and another, but it's the gap between where our kids are currently performing and the highest levels of performance that kids are capable of. That's the gap we're after. And so that's the kind of system we're trying to build, and we're seeing that happen now as we see the city, as early as probably the fall will come out of bankruptcy. We're seeing the results of our strategic planning and work with the city. We're seeing the results having students incorporated in a lot of the work that we do, asking them their opinion. We involve people in the decisions that affect them, so having student voice involved in our extended cabinet meetings.
And that has worked out really
It's worked out very well.
Yes.
I have a superintendent's advisory where I invite students from every one of our high schools together to meet with me. I have student board members that sit at our board meetings. So getting their voices in the work we're doing is helping us to get some fantastic outcomes. And if you don't mind, I'll share a few of those outcomes.
Yes,
I was just going to ask you that. That was our next question. I was going to ask you to tell us your some of the district's most recent accomplishments. And I know that there are many. Yeah. And I was very, very impressed and shocked, because I didn't realize how much you guys have done.
Yeah, well, you bet, and it's my pleasure to say that the task of leadership is to take the complex and make it simple. We've had the most historic changes, and I think Ted Alejandro mentioned this in his interview with you, that the most historic changes in public education have occurred over the last couple years. New testing system, new standards, a new national accountability system, and a new funding model as well as an accountability model for that. There's a lot of new things that we're trying to get our heads around. So the task of leadership is to simplify that message, and the message that I've given is, folks on my team, I said, look, our task this year is green grass and graduates. And what I mean by that is when you drive by the campus, I do want the grass to be green, but it's more than just green grass. It's also a welcoming environment in the front office. Right. It's receptive. It's responsive. When people call the city schools, we want a responsive system that people get back good customer service and feedback, because I'd heard
that they feel welcomed.
Exactly. They feel welcomed is exactly
the parents
right.
as well as the kids, right?
Absolutely, at every level.
And the students, you're right, because the students should feel welcome when they come to school. You're right.
And that's
sometimes the expectations, and I know I've heard it a lot. I have 4 kids, so I know that I've been through the schools, and I've seen what teachers or other expectations, especially when I used to work with the youth a little bit closer. The expectation of the kids coming in the school was before, everyone is going to fail. There was no expectations or expecting anything from these kids except for that, you're going to just drop out in high school once you get into 10th, 11th grade.
Or you're just going to take the GED instead of
exactly,
they're going to graduate and go to college.
And the great thing about the programs right now that you guys are creating, I think, is that you're excelling in achievement for all the students, right? And you are believing in them and having them create these dreams that they probably didn't even know they were there. Because now you guys are giving them the option not even to just look at universities or colleges, but that you can go into these skills, and that it's okay if you don't want to finish this school career of whatever years in the university, but that you can also go into trade schools and just, there's so many
number
other
of opportunities
options
for our kids
them.
today that they never had before.
Exactly,
right,
that
Carla.
they don't know where to be guided.
Yep.
And when you guys are there showing them that,
Yep.
hand in hand, because it's not even like you're sending an email or a letter or a flyer, right? Where we usually get as a parent, but that you guys are working so close to our students, where they're even participating on all the things that you guys are creating for the whole school. That's amazing to me.
Well, and the results are there. I mean, at the end of the day, results start to cure everything, and what we know is
that's where you see it, right? On
exactly.
the results.
Well, that's really what this is all about. Is we have to get results for our young people. So the numbers I'm going to share with you, this last year when our graduation rates came out, we surpassed the county average. That's the first time that's happened since the 1970s, and we were less than a point away from the statewide average for our graduates. And we believe with preliminary data. Yeah, thanks. And so,
I know this been a lot of hard work, and it takes a few years to get these things done.
Well, sure does. And with preliminary results that we're getting, and the data won't be released for a couple months yet, but we believe we'll actually exceed the state average this year. And for a community where you have 92% minority, 90% poverty, that's a huge outcome for our kids. Our greatest growth was for our African American students, 8.4%.
Oh, that's excellent.
Special ed students, great growth. Our Latinos surpassed the state average. And we had several high schools actually achieve beyond 90% graduation rate, with Middle College High School with 100% graduation rate, and also touted as one of the top 100 high schools in the state of California.
I know that was really awesome.
Exactly.
You got two of them, right, that were?
Well, we had two schools that were also selected as national schools to watch, Curtis Middle School and Serrano Middle School, and that's 2 out of 11 schools, and that was fantastic. But probably the one that surprised me is we got a call from the College Board. They recognized the district as having, we're the only large urban district in the nation that had the largest growth of students ready for college. Among our systems.
Really
so we're moving the dial, getting kids ready for college, getting kids ready for a career. And the last discussion I had with our whole management team, I said, look, I've heard from many people that some folks say, well, some kids aren't necessarily going to go to college. I said, I want to ask you a question. I said, please stand. I have over 300 managers in my management team meeting. Right? I said, please stand if your kid is going to be going to college, or your kid would go to college if you had a kid, or your kid has gone to college. I want you to stand up. And almost everybody stood in the entire room. And the last two that weren't standing, the last two that weren't standing, I said, if you yourself have gone to college, would you please also stand? And everybody was standing in the room. I said, now why is it not okay for our kids not to go to college, yet for the kids we serve, sometimes we think it's okay for them not to go. And I always like using something I heard from Jeffrey Canada. He taught the schools in Harlem. He said, he was asked a lot of times by families, should every kid go to college? And he said, when in doubt, do what rich people's kids do. They all go to college.
Yep. Right. They don't have a choice.
And the reality is that's the kind of message we need to have to our kids. We need to create a college-going culture in the city schools.
Right.
We live right next door to one of the greatest universities in all of the state of California.
Yes.
And why not take advantage of that? And that's the kind of work that we're doing. We're building a relationship with our partners in the university system. We're causing a true collaboration to occur where we will see in the next several years a college-going culture around here where this will be known as a college town. And the kids will be achieving that level of rigor because that's the standard that we're now setting for our kids.
And that the community would see that with our true service, because this is how I see you guys, okay, the school board, a true service for the people group that you guys are. And because you guys have rolled up your sleeves, you guys have gone there and done the work. And that's what I see with all of you guys that are in the San Bernardino city and county, because we have had Tel Alejandro too, and we know the great work that you guys have been doing. And it's amazing because you guys have really, really gone into the positions of leaderships that you guys have right now to really do this for our youth.
And you put in way more hours than I know you're paid for. That much I am 100% certain, all of you. And that to me is admirable. People don't realize that how much hours that you guys, the educators, have to put in to make this kind of thing happen. It's not, on the clock. They don't get paid.
Well, this
for the
is
hours
the best
job
on the planet because we're making a difference in people's lives.
You are.
That's palatable. And, it starts and ends with leadership. I think what the difference is now today is we have leadership.
Yes.
Whereas before, we did not.
Exactly.
So we have leadership in the boardroom. It starts in the boardroom because whatever the
Right.
tone and tenor is in the boardroom, it goes
Where
and
you guys
ripples
have-
as a wave. If you
Exactly.
have contention, divisiveness, that's how it ends up
Fighting,
being.
Exactly.
different
all through the
ideas,
system.
but nobody
Yes.
cares.
Exactly.
You lose.
Right. But that's different now.
Yes, it is. It is. So when we come back, we're going to talk about different things and transformation that has happened in the district. When we come back, we'll talk about that. And if you guys haven't tuned in, tell your friends to tune in because this is great information for all the parents, community, everything that's going on in the San Bernardino city and county. So we'll be back after this break.
You're listening to KCAA Loma Linda at 106.5 FM, K293CF Moreno Valley.
The first time that I saw you, oh, you looked so fine. Well, I tried to get your name, but you just looked aside.
La segunda vez que te vi, yo traté de hablarte, pero solamente tú te vas sin darme una oportunidad. Let's pretend
we were lovers. Let's pretend our hearts will beat as one. Let's pretend we were lovers. Let's pretend our hearts will beat as one. The third time that I saw you, you gave me a little glance, but you acted like you wanted to talk, but you ran away instead.
La cuarta vez que te vi, era mi última oportunidad de detenerte para que escucharas a mi corazón hablar.
Let's pretend. Oh yeah, baby. You keep talking to me, or that sexy speech turns me on. Until we know two heartbeats at one, the story of a lover's love is never done.
Let's pretend
We were lovers. Let's pretend our hearts will beat as one. Yes, tonight, forever as one. We were lovers. Our dancing will always run. Let's pretend love was never done.
Hi, this is Nancy Gutierrez and Carla Quebec on Inside Politics, and we will continue now with Dr. Dale Marsden.
And we're over here just having
We're
fun.
just talking and
forgot.
visiting with him, and
we forgot we're on the radio. So we're just like, oh yeah, let's just talk. Yeah, we're having our own conversation.
I'm going to go ahead and ask him another question. What specifically do you believe has caused the district transformation?
That's a great question, Nancy, and I go back to Jim Clifton's work. He said when he wrote his book, he said, look, the dropout crisis that's faced in cities or the other crises that are faced in cities are not just a school district crisis alone. It's an entire community's crisis. And so we've taken the approach from day one of engaging our community. And I think both of you have been attended at one or another of our community engagement activities that we've had within the district. And so every year we have an annual gathering of our community called our Community Engagement for Excellence gathering.
And I think it's amazing. I was very impressed that you guys came up with that.
You bet. And so what we try to do is we engage our higher ed partners, our faith-based partners, service organizations, folks that are in the public and private sector, parents, students, employees, partners that sit down at the table with us and say, okay, look, here's our plan. How do you connect to this plan, and how do we have that kind of interplay? And I'll give you an example. You know, when you look between the freeway and the 66ers Stadium, what you'll notice is a building called the San Manuel Gateway College. Oh. And that's the direct result of this kind of partnership with Loma Linda and our local universities, where we now have a place for our graduated high school seniors can go, and not just the students from our district, but from any district, can come into the third floor of this building and low-cost, high-quality advanced medical certifications. And this is a win-win partnership that's developed with Loma Linda, where they need people to come in the medical profession, and we need kids to get high-paying jobs. So we partnered with them to make this become a reality.
This collaboration,
and that collaboration
awesome.
is what builds the kind of synergy that we now have to where we have partnerships with Cal State University San Bernardino. I mean, Tomas Morales, his presidency has been amazing. He has
turned that around.
Yeah,
huh?
He's helped build it up. It was pretty good before.
Absolutely. He's had quarterly meetings with us, our cabinet, his cabinet, sitting down. How do we build a college-going culture? Because of that relationship, we won the state's largest ever Gear Up grant for $10.4 million. That, get this, every single 8th grader that's currently in our system, all 8th graders will be followed from 8th grade through to college with a mentoring program and system to help them get touched and plugged into college. And that's the kind of work that's coming out of this kind of partnership relationship that we have with so many others, and working with the city, working with our county leaders. Greg Devereaux at the county, his leadership has been tremendous, as well as our Board of Supervisors. And having this cradle-to-career vision has helped us to capitalize on this kind of work. And I'll share something with you. Several months ago, I guess it's been over a year now, we created the Making Hope Happen Foundation. Our district's motto, by the way, is Making Hope Happen. And that comes from a book written by a senior researcher from Gallup named Shane Lopez, wrote the book called Making Hope Happen. And in that book, it really tells the same kind of story of a community coming together to transform themselves. And so when I called Shane and said, "Hey, this is what we're doing. Can we use the name of your book as our district motto?" He said we could. Then we developed the foundation built out of that. And currently, we have 3 major goals going on with this foundation. I'm proud to mention that Dr. Al Carnig, the former president of Cal State University San Bernardino, is leading one of the goals on working with children 0 to 36 months. And we just officially got this kicked off.
I really do. Because I think a lot of the stuff starts there.
Absolutely. It's most primary language development occurs 0 to 36 months. And having our former university president leading this charge, he's met with all the hospitals, county leaders, other partners, and that's the kind of relationship that comes out of this kind of collective work. And then guaranteeing college for 100 students is a second goal that we have. And we already have a partner who stepped up to fund matching scholarships to that now to make that possible. And by the way, every one of these 100 kids that receives their scholarship this year will also receive a mentor that will be assigned to them and walk them through the college experience.
That's great.
And the first awards will go to our foster and homeless youth. So we're excited about
they're
that
have an opportunity
to get the kids connected.
To change things, because they got to change their future too.
You bet.
Get themselves out of the car.
And mentors are important, right? Because that way it kind of helps them walk through the way and not feel so like they're by themselves.
No one can do life alone.
Exactly.
Nobody can. God does not expect us to be alone.
That's exactly right.
But when we don't have the leadership looking out for all these details that you guys have created, right, for our youth.
Absolutely.
Because we didn't think about that before. We thought, just go to school and graduate and apply and finish and we just had the standard stuff. And right now, you guys have created detail by detail.
On how
let's
to do
graduate.
This.
Let's look at this point. Let's have mentors. And a lot of the kids didn't have that before. So now they have 1,000 ways why they should finish.
Yep.
right?
You bet.
There's
How
no
they
excuse.
can make it, right? So there is no excuse. So
That's right.
those that are out there dreaming and thinking, I'm now going to be able to do it, now they say, wow, we have so much support
And
all the
we
time
can
we
do
come
it.
here, from the superintendents, from, because I know you guys are in the schools. You guys are, I mean, even the parents are involved now. So all that involvement, right? Even with, like you said, partnerships, parents, the youth participating. I mean, it's amazing because you think, we've never dreamed that this would happen.
It's
we
true.
would thought, okay, this is just, I mean, when I went to school, I went to school and that's it, right?
I think the teachers just taught just to get paid. I don't know.
They
didn't care about what we
they
were
didn't
doing.
have everything that I'm looking at
Nope.
right now. Maybe they
Not
had some help,
very
but
few
but
of
there
these
was no guidance. And right now we see you guys doing so much involvement, having so many things and different groups and different classes and different workshops. Not even for not only for the students, but also for the parents, right? Because some parents some of us need help too, because we're not giving a handbook, right? How to be a parent.
Sure.
Chapter 8, how to send your
Right,
kid to
right.
college.
Right.
We need some kind of help sometimes, and I feel great and blessed that the community has that now. Not only the youth, but the support also for our parents, so that we can be guided also to say, this is the steps you guys should take, or this is where you should go. So I think that's great and amazing.
Well, Carl, if I may say, what I've observed in my career is parents have really two general priorities that they want for schools, and that is that schools are safe places for their kids, number
Yes.
one. And number two, that the schools are achieving great outcomes for their kids.
That's
Right.
And what we see is when a school earns an award, the studies tell us the
People wanna move
property
into it.
values
Yep.
go
Yes.
up by 7%.
People wanna move into
wanna
the
be there.
community. Yes.
Safety, our district has worked hard on this. We've had over a 50% reduction in suspensions, citations,
Wow.
expulsions. We've implemented PBIS. We have
Right.
a youth court now for our students as an
Excellent.
alternative to citations. We have a positive tickets program. We have so many things going on. Right now the board's reviewing their citations policy, and we're trying to work other consequences besides just citing kids. So kids will still get consequences for misbehavior. If they bring the things they shouldn't bring to school, they're going to get appropriate consequences and may still be suspended or expelled if necessary. But we're trying to remove that kind of legal citation issue so kids
Right.
don't have a barrier to future employment. So these are the things
Yeah.
we're trying to do. But more importantly, we're trying to create schools that everybody always talks about, like Richardson or Rodriguez Prep or Middle College High School, that have waiting lists. We want every single school to be a school of choice. This is one unique thing I want to just leave an impression about, is that I believe every single one of our schools, because most parents go to the neighborhood school, should be a school of choice. And so
I believe that
Right.
we
too.
are
I believe it
now
should be fair all the way across the
renewing
board.
every single school, going through a process we call it a shared vision process.
Right.
Riley Elementary just went through this. They're now called the Riley College Prep Academy. In my last
good.
district,
Wow.
in my last
I remember
district,
that, like,
we
in the demo
had
center stuff there.
this in my last district, and the goal was that all 100% of the schools would be schools of choice. So we had Discovery School of the Arts, we had
Right.
we had Challenger School of Sports. We had Endeavor School of Exploration and Sixth Street Prep School. The list went on of all these specialty schools because
Right.
the staff got together with the parents and the students and the community partners and said, what do we want kids to know and be able to do before they leave here? What do we want the school to look like? What do we want it to be known for? And we're creating these schools of choice
Right.
and rebranding the school to become something that's a model is something that we're after. And that's the vision I have and the dream for the future for San Bernardino City Unified.
And I love it. I mean, I'm
Me
in
too.
love with the San Bernardino
So
City
am I.
Unified School District.
I am. Like, both of us are. Like, we couldn't have enough of you guys come on. We would have you guys every week for the
I'm
next
like, okay,
year.
now you guys have to come on again. Because it's not enough, right? We have an hour, but it's just so much information.
Well, I recommend
and so
you
much
bring
great
some of our
stuff.
kids on, talk to them. They'll
And-
tell you the story.
And I want to definitely do that because I want them
Absolutely.
to share their experience. Maybe we can have some kids that will have had maybe participated in different programs so that they can tell us their experience and they can, just give us the output as a student, right? Because when we're adults, we create it, we do it, and we see it, but it's a
But we
different
don't
thing
know how
when
they feel
once
about
they're
it.
sitting there and taking notes and.
well, they're the ones that are
and-
going to make San Bernardino strong.
Exactly.
Well, no, you guys will, and they are going to be lucky enough to have you guys as administrators, because this is really an amazing school district.
Takes the whole
And
community.
what I love is the empowerment you guys are giving to our youth.
Me too.
Because later on, right, they'll be the ones taking over. So we want
if we
them
don't
to
build
be
them up.
empowered. We want them to
exactly
be
right.
knowledgeable. We
Successful.
want them to have the education to run the San Bernardino, right? Even the Unified School District, because I
That's
don't
right.
think you want to stay there forever, right? You love it, but I
work
think
myself
you're
out of a job. That's right.
Exactly. Well, we'll be back after this break. But if you haven't tuned in, if you haven't shared it, please share it with someone so that they can get all this great information about the San Bernardino City and County Unified School District. And when we come back, we'll talk a little bit more with Dr. Dell.
Thank you.
Thank you.
I can hear the angels ringing their chimes of a bell. As the time goes by, a world of paradise. We had time, you and I, to smile, laugh, and cry. So wipe away your tears and remember the happy years. Forever and forever, I live inside your dreams. My heart, my love will be together, just you and me. The morning, a sunrise, every evening, a sunset. I whispered a word that's true. And at this moment, I'm with you. The first spring of romance, a summer we play and dance. To fall in love one night, then a warm winter every night. Forever and forever, I live inside your dreams. My heart, my love will be together, just you and me. Forever and forever, I live inside your dreams. My heart, my love will be together, just you and me. I can hear the angels ringing their chimes of bells. I can hear the angels ringing their chimes of bells. Through the mountain skies, on the top of the river high, down to an ocean blue, I'll always be with you. Forever and forever, I live inside your dreams. My heart, my love will be together, just you and me. Ever and forever, I live inside your dreams. Heart, my love will be together, just you and me. Ever and forever, I live inside your dreams. My heart, my love will be.
Okay, so today we have been just really, really distracted because we're having so
much
we're
fun.
having all these conversations when the
We are
mics are
learning so
off,
much.
and we're just like so. My God, it's so much information, right? It's
and energized. I'm totally energized because I feel like, okay, now I can grow old. There's actually going to be somebody who's going to be able to handle this.
Now,
Below
let's
us.
go in detail and talk about top priorities for parents? What do you think they are as in the San Bernardino City Unified School
You
District?
bet. And so I touched on them a little bit, and I'm happy to circle back with them again. And number one, always for parents, is safety. Their students must be kept safe, and we do a fantastic job of that. Our teachers are just the most amazing front line for our students, and the high quality work that they do with their students every day, with the tremendous challenges that follow from the city back into the campus, and how they work with children and the work that they do to transform lives is just tremendous. And they've done a lot of that over years, even prior to before I came along, through positive behavior intervention supports known as PBIS, the work that we do with students, and now most recently work that we're just beginning to introduce to our schools around restorative justice, where students who engage in misbehavior, you don't just deal with the misbehavior, but you also teach the student a productive adult behavior, which is making amends for the wrong that you caused and restoring the damage. Right. So let's say a kid bullies a kid. Well, he needs to then apologize and take responsibility for that and restore the conditions, and working with the whole school community to make that happen. And those aren't easy things to do. It requires new skill sets. And so pouring into our leaders and their professional development, their leadership development, the parents and their parent development through some of our parent university work with our Director of Family Engagement. And that's work that's just kind of getting started. Our board's work, as I mentioned earlier, in reducing citations. This is not to change the requirements of safety on our campuses in terms of students will always continue to be held to the highest standard for safety, but what we want to do is offer alternatives in discipline. So let's say a student brings a small pocket knife to school. You know, in the past, especially after some things that happened, in other school systems, you had a zero tolerance policy. If you brought a pocket knife, you're going to get cited, and the police are going to come, arrest you, take you away, and all. Well, we're trying not to criminalize youth if they bring something to school. Well, they'll still receive a strong consequence, but instead of intervening with the police, we're trying to do that at the lowest level. So, because what happens is this: if a student has a citation, let's say in 8th grade, and they then later go to apply for the military or get into some public job, they can't get in because that's on their record. And it's impossible to get that thing off.
Because you're thinking, gosh, in 8th grade I did dumb things.
For me, the military was a fallback career.
Yeah. Which is awesome.
It was my way out of the house and into a productive life. For 1 out of 4 youngsters in the state of California, they currently, they cannot get. 3 out of 4 youngsters who try to get into the military cannot in the state of California. So it's already pretty high. But in this district, only one in this city, only 1 out of 8 can get into the military because they're either not prepared with the test, they can't pass the test, physically they're not fit, or they have something on their record that keeps them from going in. And so if we want our kids to have access to the military and some of these public jobs, we've got to reduce those issues around safety.
So question before, I had another question, but before the question I had, what was implemented different, you would say, in regards to the staff, and as far as the teachers and those that are in that school handling our kids, what was implemented in them so that they can make this change as a safety priority?
Right now we're just in the middle of crafting the new policy. Once the policy is crafted, then we begin all the training that's necessary for staff to implement that policy and make it become a reality. And so that's going to require staff having greater training on PBIS, restorative justice practices, other alternative means of correction rather than just citing kids, and that again, that's a police intervention. Rather than just having an initial police intervention, we want to start with other means. And I'll give you an example. If I have a child in a neighboring district doesn't get a citation for the same behavior that happens in San Bernardino City,
that's not
something's
fair.
wrong.
That's right.
So
that's
we're trying to change and correct that. We're trying to ensure that every student has a fair opportunity for their future, while at the same time being held to a high level of standard for their behavior.
Right.
So the consequences are still going to be in place for students who misbehave.
Right. It's just not going to be.
It's just not going to be a legal consequence for the student per se.
So and with that, I know that we've on the last session we talked about school of choice, and can you just give us a little bit about that, a little bit more before we end the show?
You bet. You know, it's been my experience, Carla and Nancy, that parents who have the ability to get their kids to a name brand school are going to get them there no matter what. They can drive them there, they get them there, but 95% of our parents attend the neighborhood school. So the task we have is how do we transform every school to become school of choice? And this is something I learned in some work I had with schools out in Alaska. You know, in Alaska, public education was looked at as a foreign invasion, you know, coming into some of these local, you know, remote tribe areas.
Yeah.
And so the Chugach School District back in 2001 won the nation's highest award given to any organization called the Malcolm Baldrige National Quality Award for Performance Excellence. It's given by the President of the United States. They turned their entire system around where they had low double-digit performance on state test scores. They hit in the 90 percentile. When they had 0 kids going to colleges and universities, over 90% of kids went to colleges and universities. And I got involved in that work through my work at Pepperdine University and was working my doctorate and connected with them and began nonprofit work funded by the Bill and Melinda Gates Foundation, and they began to replicate that work in the lower 48. And what they did is they had a shared vision process where they came into a community, a tribe, if you will. They brought the tribal leaders, they brought the parents, the mayor,
so collaboration.
Students,
they had everybody collaborate.
Everybody
the whole
in the
city.
same room and said, "Look, what do we want our kids to know and be able to do when they leave here?" Things like language were important. Things like culture were important. I walked into a high school in Whittier, in Unalakleet, Alaska. It's the Bering Strait School District, the last stop on the Iditarod Trail. I walk into this high school and I see a student working on sealskin gloves for their boyfriend that was part of the curriculum. Her boyfriend's dad had caught the seal, and it was part of the curriculum that she makes something, you know, and it's part of the culture. And this is the kind of thing that goes on in the schools there. And so we brought that same approach back to my last district. And as I mentioned before, the goal that every school, 100% of the schools, become schools of choice. The goal here, over time, is that every school becomes a school of choice. And
I think
that's great.
I think that should just hopefully.
We have a phone call. We're going to take it because we have like a couple of minutes, 3-4 minutes. So,
fantastic.
Who's on the line?
This is Barbara Babcock.
Hi, Barbara. How are you? What is your question
is that
today?
My favorite superintendent there with you guys?
Yes, we do.
Yes, ma'am.
Dr. Marsden, I just want to thank you for what you have done for our city. Oh, my God.
You.
I am so excited the direction, and I tell you, City Schools has just taken the lead in our visioning process, and it's so important. I was so blessed to be on a committee co-chairing with the former San Bernardino High School principal, Ms. Rodriguez, who's now moved up to the district. But I learned so much. I have done some presentations with Dr. Marsden. In fact, he even attended my class. I was so nervous, Dale. You have no idea.
Yeah, he has a lot of energy, but it's good energy.
But he just jumped in. I had people doing things in groups. This was about 2 years ago. But this collaboration, I just got finished with 2 hours with Gloria Harrison at a Fifth Ward meeting. I know that we have so many challenges, but together we can make a difference in this city, and we're going to.
And we are.
And we are.
We agree with you
Thank
totally.
You.
Thank you so much, Barbara, for calling in.
Thanks. Bye-bye.
Thank you. Bye. Thank you for our listeners, too, and thank you so much, Dr. Dale.
That's right,
It's
Dr.
for being
Dale
here.
Marsden.
Been my
This
pleasure.
Sunday. Because I
my
know
we really
Sundays
enjoyed
is-
having you. We've learned a lot, and we definitely want you to come back.
Well, thank you.
'cause
And
I
we
know there's much more
definitely have
hear.
to talk about bringing in some students so they can share with the community
Their
and other
stories will be
students. We
the
got to
real
get the
stories,
students to also go online and watch it and watch their friends come on the radio and
Absolutely.
and share their experience on the different programs that you guys have created for this great city.
I know your schools are great enough where the kids don't want to go home, so that says something about you guys as leaders too, as well.
That's the goal.
Well, and creating more programs has our kids occupied, busy, out of the streets.
In the right way.
Being
Yes,
positive
in the right way.
right direction. So thank you so much for tuning in, and we'll see you guys next Sunday. And watch us at kcaa.com, and also visit and like our Facebook page, Inside Politics.
Thank you so much.
Did I say the website right? Because Joey's giving me a funny look. Oh,
www.kcaa1050am.
No.
Radio.com. Oh,
That's what I was forgetting. www.kcaa radio.com. There, Joe. Got it right this time.
You're listening to KCAA, Loma Linda, California. The best station in the nation.
Your NBC Sports Radio update starts now.
Clayton trying to be Clayton. I'm Dave Denholm. Baseball. Dodgers taking on the Mets in New York. And Clayton Kershaw going up against Bartolo Colon. And this one's in the third inning.